Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' initial 53-man roster that was decided after this weekend's worth of cuts. Now, I already made a video talking about the cuts that were made. I'm going to be making a video right now talking about the initial 53-man roster that was finalized after this weekend. I'm going to be making another video talking about the practice squad players that were signed, and then I'm going to be making a final video talking about the depth chart that was released. So a lot of content coming out here tonight. But yeah, let's get started talking about this 53-man roster. First things first, we're just doing this by general position, by alphabetical order of positions. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get into it. First things first, the center position, Ryan Jensen and A.Q. Shipley. No surprises here. Both of these guys have a lot of experience as starting centers in the NFL, so there really was no surprise at all in terms of, overall ability that both these guys bring. Ryan Jensen played like a top 5 center last year, and A.Q. Shipley knows this offense in and out for Bruce Arians and for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So really, you couldn't go wrong with both these guys at the center position. At the cornerback position here, Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, Parnell Motley, Sean Murphy-Bunting, and Ryan Smith were the ones who were selected for this 53-man roster. Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, Sean Murphy-Bunting, no surprises there. Those guys have some very, very bright futures ahead of them. Ryan Smith is still an absolute beast on special teams, but the big surprise here was Parnell Motley getting in over guys like Mazzy Wilkins and Herb Miller. That's because Parnell Motley had an absolutely amazing training camp. He was making plays left, right, and center, and while he didn't do anything that I personally feel would challenge guys like Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, or Sean Murphy-Bunting for their starting positions, he definitely solidified himself in terms of being a cornerback for this team. Scrolling a little bit further down now, we're going to get to the defensive line. You have Khalil Davis, William Golston, Rakeem Nunez-Roche, Patrick O'Connor, Ndamukong Suh, and Vita Vea. First things first, Khalil Davis, he got in over guys like Kyle Love. Was very surprised to see that, but a lot of you guys in the comments section were relatively confident that Khalil Davis was going to be on this roster. And hey, shout out to you guys. You definitely hit that one right on the head. Khalil Davis definitely has a lot of ability, I feel like, potentially as a pass rusher, and we'll just have to wait and see how he is going to do. William Golston, that one's not a surprise at all. He had a very solid season last year as a run stopper. Rakeem Nunez-Roche definitely came on strong in this training camp. I thought he was a strong backup last year, but this year it seemed like he got even better in terms of his run blocking ability, and he's definitely starting to show more leadership qualities as well. Patrick O'Connor, this one was honestly pretty surprising considering he beat out Jeremiah Ledbetter, who I thought was the favorite for one of those backup D-line positions, but Patrick O'Connor got in over Jeremiah Ledbetter, and I will say Patrick O'Connor, who I've nicknamed the Viking, 6'4", 270 pounds, he is not a bad defensive lineman at all. He's definitely got some versatility to him, and I'm very excited to have him on this roster. I think that he could definitely be a very underrated player that shows a lot of ability here for this upcoming season. And then finally, Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, no surprises there whatsoever, because they're just absolute beasts. Moving down here to the guard position, Alex Kappa, Ali Marpet, and Aaron Stinney were selected here. Alex Kappa, he definitely made a big leap from year 1 to year 2, and I'm very excited to see what he can do in year number 3. Ali Marpet's a beast, we all know this. Aaron Stinney, that one was a little bit of a surprise to me that he got in over a guy like Zach Bailey, but from what I've been seeing reported from Bruce Arians in press conferences, among other things, Aaron Stinney definitely has a lot of versatility. He can play both tackle and guard. And if there's one thing that Harold Goodwin and Bruce Arians love, it's versatility on the offensive line, which is definitely a pretty decent reason as to why Aaron Stinney made this roster. Moving on to inside linebackers, the Buccaneers have 4: Jack Sitchie, Levante David, Kevin Minter, and Devin White. Levante David, Devin White, no surprises there. Those guys are the starters after all. Kevin Minter, this guy's an absolute beast. He is the epitome of a fringe starter, in my opinion. This guy is a very solid special teams player, and he can start when you need him to. He did it last year when Devin White was dealing with his knee injury, and I think that he did a pretty decent job. The kind of surprise here comes with Jack Sitchie. He got in over Chappelle Russell, which I was not necessarily expecting. I know that Jack Sitchie can do some very, very good things, and he definitely has an ability to be around the football, but I thought the big knock on him was going to be just his overall health. I didn't think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to trust Jack Sitchie to be able to stay healthy for a full season, and I thought that they were just going to play it safe, keep Chappelle Russell, and just move Jack Sitchie to the practice squad, but that's not what they went with. And overall, I do feel like that if Jack Sitchie can stay healthy, he is going to be a good linebacker for this team. So overall, very, very solid group of inside linebackers, and in my opinion, probably one of the deepest units on this entire roster. Scrolling a little bit further down here, Ryan Suckup is the kicker. Zach Triner is the long snapper. I already talked about Ryan Suckup. We're just going to have to wait and see how he does. He was pretty consistent as a kicker before coming to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In 2019, he had a lot of injuries, and we're just going to have to wait and see with him. And Zach Triner's the long snapper. Cool, I guess. Moving down to the outside pass rushing linebackers, you have Shaq Barrett, Quentin Bell, Cam Gill, Anthony Nelson, and Jason Pierre-Paul. Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, no surprises there whatsoever. Anthony Nelson, same thing. He's definitely that third pass rusher right now for this team. The two surprises here come in Cam Gill and Quentin Bell. Both these guys are very, very young players, 22 and 24 years old, both undrafted rookies. Both have a lot of speed, and according to the reports, both have been doing a very, very good job in terms of their overall special teams play, so that's probably where they're going to thrive. Maybe they will get some opportunities here down the line in terms of being backup pass rushers for this team. Bradley Pinion's the punter. It is what it is. He's the people's champ. Shout out to you, my friend. The quarterback position, Tom Brady, Blaine Gabbert, Ryan Griffin. This is exactly what everybody thought it was going to be. No surprises there whatsoever. The running back room consists of Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, LaShawn McCoy, and Keyshawn Vaughn. The signing of Leonard Fournette pushed out a guy like Dare Ogunbowale when it came time to make cuts this past weekend, and this is a very much changed room from last season. Last season, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had Ronald Jones, Peyton Barber, and Dare Ogunbowale as their main three running backs. Now they have Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, and LaShawn McCoy as their three top running backs, as well as third-round draft pick Keyshawn Vaughn. So this running back room has been improved dramatically, and I really can't wait to see what the future of this position group is going to be. Because quite frankly, I don't think it's going to be interesting. I can't even put it into words. Just in my opinion, I feel like the Buccaneers organization is going to have to choose between Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones, and I really can't wait to see which one they're going to choose. That's going to be very, very interesting. But yeah, this running back room is phenomenal for this upcoming season, and I'm very, very excited to see Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, and LaShawn McCoy put in that work. Moving down a little bit further now to the safety position, you have Andrew Adams, Mike Edwards, Jordan Whitehead, and Antoine Winfield Jr. No surprises in my opinion, although I would not be surprised if some people were surprised about Andrew Adams making this 53-man roster. I know that sounded like a little bit of a tongue twister, but what I'm trying to say is Andrew Adams made this roster at the safety position. Guys like Javon Hagan and Dakota Dixon didn't, and some people could be surprised about that. Myself, I love Andrew Adams. He is the definition of a fringe starter in my opinion. That's basically when I started using the term, was a couple of years ago when the Buccaneers signed Andrew Adams to the team initially. So yeah, really no surprises here in my opinion. Jordan Whitehead, Antoine Winfield Jr., Mike Edwards, Andrew Adams. This is a very good, very young safety group, and I'm excited to see what they can do. Moving a little bit further down to the tackle position now, you have Joe Haeg, who they listed at tackle instead of guard, Donovan Smith, Josh Wells, and Tristan Wirfs. Again, no really big surprises here. Donovan Smith, Tristan Wirfs are going to be your starters. Joe Haeg was a pretty decent free agent signing the Buccaneers made in this offseason, and Josh Wells is Josh Wells. So yeah, moving on to the tight end position, you have four tight ends, Anthony Auclair, Cameron Brate, Rob Gronkowski, and O.J. Howard. Again, No surprises here whatsoever. This is arguably the deepest position group on the entire team. I would argue to say it probably is the deepest position group on this team. You have Rob Gronkowski and O.J. Howard, which is just disgusting by itself. You then have Cameron Brate, who is a very capable and very solid receiving tight end. I feel one of the better half receiving tight ends in the entire NFL. He could be a starter on a lot of teams. And then Anthony Auclair, who Bruce Arians has dubbed one of the better blocking tight ends in the entire NFL. So really, yeah, this position group is probably the deepest on the entire team. Moving on to the wide receiver position, you have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Tyler Johnson, Jadon Mickens, Scotty Miller, and then finally Justin Watson to round out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 53-man roster. Again, no surprises here. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, we knew they were going to make it. Scotty Miller, we knew he was going to be making it as well. And I could be persuaded on a couple of these guys. Tyler Johnson, he just has not been able to play during these training camp days because he has been dealing with a lot of nagging injuries, which led to a lot of people thinking that he could potentially be cut from this team. I always thought he was going to make it due to his draft status, him being a 5th-round draft pick, and the fact that he was just an absolute steal in this most recent NFL draft. I thought he was going to be making it for sure. Justin Watson has been looking good, especially considering last year when he had a handful of troubles during the regular season in terms of learning the playbook and things like that. He came on pretty decently in this training camp. And then finally, it's my guy. It is the friend of the channel, Jadon Mickens. So happy that he made this 53-man roster. He is the starting kick returner, starting punt returner, and you know what? I really want to see what he can do as a wide receiver for this team as well, because I think he could be a phenomenal deep threat for this team. The Buccaneers have some, underrated good wide receivers on this team. Guys like Jadon Mickens and Scotty Miller can just be absolute deep threats for this roster, and I'm very excited to see what Jadon Mickens can do as a returner and in the wide receiver core as well. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this 53-man roster. I'm kind of done giving my analysis on it. If you scroll down a little bit here, you can see players who have been placed on the injured reserve. John Franklin, TJ Logan, we knew both those guys were on there. John Hurst and John Mulkin were also placed on the injured reserve. And I'm just going to click on this real quick so we can see John Mulkin's mustache. That's absolutely amazing. Shout out to him for that. That is awesome. Justin Evans was also placed on the physically unable to perform list as well. But yeah, guys, that is the initial Tampa Bay Buccaneers 53-man roster. I hope you guys all enjoyed your video, this video, I guess I should say. What do you think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 53-man roster? What surprised you, and what position groups do you feel are the strongest or the weakest? I feel overall, this is a pretty solid team. I know some people are going to point to inexperience at certain position groups, mainly the secondary, but considering what I saw at the end of the second half of last season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the secondary, it's something I'm not really worried about. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers spent a lot of time this offseason making a lot of upgrades at position groups that they felt were a big need. Big example being that running back room now, with Leonard Fournette there, with LaShawn McCoy there, and with Keyshawn Vaughn there as well. The Buccaneers have done a ton of work to make sure that the running back room is pretty solid, and just overall this offense has not lost any steam whatsoever. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed. I will see you in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs!